when it's.
Okay.
Peace and blessings, everybody. It's your girl Wendy Zizzo here with Veronica Daly, and we are doing this vibrations and conversations because we feel that it's important to bring to y'all as much information as possible that could help you to create, or in more layman's terms, manifest happiness now. You know, so people say, happiness is fleeting. Okay, but why not strive to catch that instead of drama?
Hmm.
So how you doing? How's it going?
I am doing really, really well. I'm having a great weekend, great Saturday. Um, uh, we were on here briefly before we went live, but I was telling Wendy that I let my child spirit get me dressed for today.
And you look so cute.
With my hair
I
and my
love it. I love
headband.
it. You look so cute. Like, for me, I was like, I'm gonna wear my caftan today that I got from Egypt.
Yeah,
So,
that's
I'm
gorgeous.
feeling very. And you know what I found out recently, which I wasn't aware of, that caftans and what do you call them? The other outfits that I can't think of the name of it right now, but the other dresses that they wear
The
and out in
salad.
Egypt and stuff. These are actually from uh Ethiopian traditions.
Okay.
So it's not an Arab thing to be wearing a caftan. It's a Ethiopian thing.
Huh.
You
Hmm.
know, which is interesting because I do have lineage in
Oh, do
Ethiopia,
you? Okay.
so I'll take it.
Okay. Nice. What side of
And,
the family is that on?
yeah, and when I was in Egypt, everybody thought I was Egyptian, so
Oh, that's
I'll
cool.
take it two times.
That's like that would be my dream. That's like living in New York and people say like, "Oh, you look like you live in Brooklyn." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah, or when people think I'm from Brooklyn because of the way I talk, they're like, "Oh, you
Okay.
sound like you from Brooklyn." I'm
Yeah,
like, I mean, kind of, sort of. Most of my family's from there, but
yeah.
I was born on the little island called Staten Island.
It's funny because when I first met you and got to speak to you for a while, I was like, "You sound Southern to me." Honestly, like,
I've heard that
yes,
before.
you remind me of people from. I grew up in Virginia. For my first 18 years of life, I lived in Virginia, and you made me feel like home because of how you talk.
Oh, that's so
Yes,
sweet. But
yes,
people have told me that I sound Southern. I'm like,
you do.
I,
Yeah, but
I lived in
also
Staten Island my whole life,
yeah,
so
you also sound like a New Yorker. Maybe it's like that's what happened between like Staten Island and Brooklyn. Like that's
yeah, Staten Island's a little bit more laid back. So maybe
okay.
that laid back conversation comes from,
Maybe yeah.
that's the because Southerners are just slow. They just
Mm.
have more of a slow talk.
Yeah, but there's also for me like there's a special kind of lilt to a Southern person's voice, and I feel like you have like a musical sounding voice, the way your tones go up and down, and that's more Southern to me than like New York. It's like ba 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 ba, and the South people
Mm.
take their time on a word and you know put the accent on the front instead of the back, like guitar instead of. Or my parents say mosquitoes instead of mosquito. I'm like, what's that?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll own it. I'm good. I'm fine taking that. And it's interesting though, but hey, it's in the blood somewhere because I think my
Yeah.
grandmother came from Virginia.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but and that's the Cherokee side of me.
I have Cherokee too.
Ah, so we
Girl,
related somehow.
what if we're related? Look, my grandfather, he got around. So
Listen, we never know. We never know. This is a small
related.
world, and the way the universe works, it just brings things around full circle. But um real quick to tell everybody, so the point of this podcast or this platform with the vibrations and conversations is that I'm very heavy into uh sharing what I've learned about self-love and how to actually love yourself, and also a lot of spiritual sciencey type of things, like um people that want to think outside of the norm, which would be like religious beliefs, and feel that there's something more, like people that try to separate science and spirituality. It's like, yeah, you really shouldn't separate the two because it's really just two ways of talking about the same thing, you know, and it's a different language and a different perspective of how to identify and connect with just everything around you, including yourself, most importantly, you know. So the things that I've learned over time, and again, this is a disclaimer. I ain't perfect, people. Okay. I've gone through shit after shit after shit and had my own level of crazy, had my own level of things that I needed to work through. So I learned all this stuff so that I could better myself. Once I have done that, I'm like, ooh, I want to share this with people because why not? You know, I don't want to die with the info that helped me. Maybe it can help you, you know, or anyone that's paying attention. So that's the point. And, you know, Veronica definitely is along for the ride because me and her, you know, we here, you know, we understand each other. We speak the same language here, you know. So I'm excited to see where we're going with this. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
Oh, well, I'm just going to say, like, to add on to what you're talking about, like, first of all, I love your generous spirit because there are a lot of people who don't share. There's a lot of people who know how to help someone or have been through a similar experience. And they're just like, oh, I struggled through it, so you should struggle through it too because, you know, that's what I did. That's good enough for you. But, you know, like, I think that we're all here to make life easier and better for each other. I think that's why we have human connection. If we were meant to be isolated on islands and separate and not helping one another, we wouldn't be living the way that we do, you know?
Absolutely.
And you know, like, there's this, what I feel is a very false belief that, you know, everyone needs to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. I was like, well, what about people who don't even have bootstraps, you know? And so when we come together as a community, when we share what we know, when we learn something, when we gain wisdom, and then we can disseminate that and share with other people, we not only make their life better, but we make our life better because a community is only as strong as its weakest link. So when you have people suffering and hurting in your communities, everyone feels that, even if they want to just walk by and look the other way, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that you have such a generous spirit and that you're sharing with other people so that they can benefit from what you've been through, you know. And I also think that that gives a lot of validation, almost like our pain and suffering. It's like, it wasn't for nothing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, you know, listen, the pain that I've endured in my life and throughout the years, you know, whether it was physical, dealing with, you know, cancer, or if it was mental, or if it was emotional, you know, all these different things, it's like you don't want it to be in vain, you know. It's like there has to be a point of all this happening, you know, because that's even one of the ways that I help to carry myself through it. I say there's something good about this. I don't know what it is, but this is serving me in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes like I got to go through the pain to help others.
Right.
You know, okay, fine, I'll take it.
Yeah, and like if your goal is to be a person who's in service of others or to be a helper, and I think that we're all called to help at some point in our lives, and maybe we just don't even think about it that way, right? Like sometimes sharing something feels so natural, but then the response from the person who receives your information is like, oh my God, I've been struggling so much. You have no idea. No one could help me. I didn't know what to do. I was at my wit's end. Like sometimes something that seems so simple to us is revolutionary to somebody else.
True. I mean, well, I know that when I first learned anything that I know, it was one of those moments. So, you know, being able to provide that for others is like crack for me. You know what I mean? Like it's like shoot me up with that, you know, like when I could share something with someone and I could literally see the change in their energy and I know that this is working for them. I'm like, oh yeah.
And you're like, I got to be a part of that, you know?
Yeah, like that's awesome. I love doing
watching a plant grow in fast motion right in front of your eyes. You know, like you saw the aha moment. You saw the moment a new wrinkle in their brain was created, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like it's something as simple as just explaining to people what emotions are. You know, emotions are one of the most misunderstood things that we have in society today. Like we were never taught what emotions are, how they serve us, and how you can actually use them or see them as the messengers that they are. So if I'm to break it down, emotions are energy in motion. You know, whenever you have a belief or an experience of something, you have an emotional experience that's connected to your nervous system. That's the intuitive nudge from within showing you that whatever this is that you're experiencing right now is connected to something that is either against how you feel, because either that emotion feels good or it feels bad.
Mhm.
And when it feels bad, that means that you're out of alignment. When it feels good, keep doing that, because our natural state is to feel good and be love all the time. But we sway from that. So whenever we sway from it, the emotion lets you know, oh, I just swayed away from my natural state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whenever you're feeling upset, sad, depressed, annoyed, frustrated, angry, that's the indicator in that moment that you just swayed away from your natural self. It's kind of like, imagine your gas tank in
No,
your
do
car.
the GPS in the car when you're trying to back up and park, and it's like beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
beep.
that too. Yeah, exactly. And the same thing with, and I like the analogy of the gas tank, because when the signal comes on E to let you know that the gas tank is empty, you don't start screaming at the gas tank like, what is wrong with you? How dare you? You got nerve to be empty. What is this? This is so wrong. Like, you don't do that. You're like, oh, okay, the light is on, let me go get some gas, right? And your emotions, whenever you sway away, that's the light going off, like, oh, let me go put myself back in alignment. So that's what your emotions are, the indicators. They're your friend. Like, they're a part of your innate consciousness. So I love the part that they're messengers, as in, whenever you have an emotional reaction or a feeling, that's connected to a belief. So the belief is the message where, hey, come pay attention to this, because this is something that you need to resolve. And once you resolve it, that out of alignment feeling will bring you back into your loving feeling. So, like, a quick example would be, if let's say you were abandoned or something as a child, and now in your current relationships, your significant other is making you feel abandoned. Like, maybe they didn't answer your phone call, or they're making you feel like they don't care, whatever. And that feeling that you're getting in that moment, that feeling is letting you know, something in me feels like I'm not safe, right? So you want to, instead of yelling at that person like, you better answer my calls, no, turn around and say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm feeling something right now. What is that? And close your eyes, tune into that feeling, and ask it. Literally have a conversation with it. Like, when was the first time I ever felt this way? And sometimes it'll bring you back to the most distant memory of something you haven't thought of in years. Maybe it was, like, for me, I remember one time, the first time I ever learned about this, I was watching Yolana. I can't say her name right, and I'm sorry if she ever catches this episode. Was it Yolana Evantis? She had the show Fix My Life.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know how to say her name either. So
all right, so I don't feel as bad.
Or something like that.
Yeah. So she had there was something I was watching where she was speaking to these gentlemen that had a whole bunch of kids by a whole bunch of different women, and she was speaking from the woman's point of view, right? And just listening to her talk, it triggered me. Like, I started to feel emotional about what she was saying, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a time that I could." Because I just learned about emotions and how to actually do this work. So I was like, ooh, let me take the second to tune into this. So I sat with it and I asked the questions, when was the first time I felt this feeling? And it brought me back to when I was in foster care, when I was 5 years old, sitting on the steps, waiting for my mother to come and get me. And she never did. Right. So I had to sit and have a conversation with 5-year-old me and explain to her what was going on, why was this happening, and this is what really was going on. And once she felt resolved, in a sense, she felt the relief. She felt like, really? So mommy does love me? Like, when I tell you, I cried for 20 minutes. It was like it was like if somebody pulled the socket out of the sink, and just all these emotions that have been bottled up for 20, 30 years just came out. And after that purge, so to say, I just had this overwhelming feeling to call my mother. I called her on FaceTime, And as I'm looking at her face, it was like, this was like the first time I ever seen her in a way that I loved her. You know, I was always this, there was that resentment was always there that I didn't know was there. I felt like I was always like, lady, you know, I was always you know, a little low key tight at her about something, or just had a low key attitude.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, resolving that emotion, that belief, because
Yes.
the belief was my mother didn't love me,
Mhm.
right? Once I changed the belief that no, she does love you, she just couldn't get you because you was in a foster home.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I changed that belief, now when I look at her, I'm not looking at her through the lens of that belief anymore. I'm looking at her through the lens of, oh, she does love me. So now that should just move to the side. And that's what helped me to start to repair my relationship with her.
That's cool.
So
I have some questions for you based
go
on
for it.
So first of all, I love that story because it's so powerful. And I think one of the most incredible things about what you're doing is that it originates within you and is also resolved within you, and it's free. Like, you did this for yourself for free by choosing to tune into your emotions and then tap into, like, you know, when it was the first time I felt like this, and really following that trail.
Yes.
And so what I want to ask you is what advice would you have for people, or what strategies would you ask people to consider when I think about people and emotions? Like, first of all, I think some emotions are stigmatized because we've feminized emotions, like, oh, only women have them, and only women have the extreme emotions, only women cry, or it's only okay for women and girls to cry, right? So we've done all these messed up things that has stigmatized even just having emotions. And there's certain spaces in our life where certain emotions aren't appropriate, right? So it's like when you go to work, or when you're with family versus when you're with friends versus when you're with your, like, you know, ride or dies. Like, there's all these different levels of emotion that seem to be acceptable. And so one thing that I would ask is, what would you suggest to people who are scared to investigate their emotions? Because I feel like there's a lot of emotional avoidance in society, and that it's also kind of like promoted as something that's healthy and good, is to, if you have an extreme emotion, avoid it, cover it up with something else, you know? So how would you recommend to someone to start tapping more into their emotions and exploring them if that's something that scares them?
For one, I would say, ask yourself this question: how much do I care about the way that I feel? You know what I mean? Like, how much do you actually care about the way that you feel? Or do you want someone else to care about the way that you feel? And if you really are hell bent that you're upset that somebody else is not caring about the way you feel, then that's actually a projection, because you're the one not caring about the way you feel. So you're seeking it from other places. So that to me is like the foundation, because if you start to really care about the way you feel, whenever you're feeling any type of way, you would want to do something about it, right? That's one thing I would say. The other thing is, back to what I was saying before, that energy is, it's literally your energy in motion, emotion, and it's going to manifest in many different ways, from what we would deem as feminine versus masculine. You know, the way that they express emotions sometimes is very dangerous. You know, people ain't here no more because of the way that males can express their emotion, but it's still emotion. You know, being frustrated, being angry, being disturbed by anything that takes you outside of feeling joy, love, happiness, and gratitude, more than likely is you're feeling a negative emotion. So just acknowledging that this is my energy that I'm feeling right now. So the more that you say, well, I don't want to feel that, you're literally abandoning yourself. That's self-abandonment. And I'll even go as far as saying, if you keep on engaging in things that make you feel bad, right? That's now you're abusing yourself.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's
And
self-abuse.
that's a really interesting concept, because I think a lot of people suffer things and go through experiences or agree to stuff they don't want to do, or I don't know, get tangled up in stuff where they're not feeling good, and then they keep doing it out of obligation or something like that. And I think, and fulfilling the obligation makes them feel good towards other people in terms of like people pleasing or not rocking the boat. But over time, like you're saying, you keep doing that to yourself, and then the result is that you feel worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I'll even say this. It's about taking responsibility for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, where there's the accountability, and then there's taking responsibility. Now, a lot of times when people hear the term, take responsibility, people are like, oh, so it's my fault, so now I gotta blame myself. No, it's not about blame. Right. It's not about blame at all. It's like the simplest analogy I like is crying over spilled milk, right? Now you could sit there and say, oh, I accidentally did this, or all these different things happen. Oh my God. And the point is the milk is spilled. You had something to do with it. Period.
Yeah. Okay.
You were there. You was there. Milk is spilled. Okay. Now what? That is taking responsibility. Okay. So if you're having an interaction with someone, if you're going through some type of situation, you have to take responsibility for your part in it. The fact that you're there. Okay, now what could I actually do that's different now? Because acknowledgement of a problem is the first level of change. Like, you can't change any problem until you admit you got one. Right. So, admitting that is there. Yeah. And I was saying this to my uncle earlier, and you can't let go of anything until you understand why you're holding on to it. And learning how to tap into your emotions will show you why you're holding on to it. Okay. It's deep. It's layers to this shit.
I mean, it all goes back to the same thing. It's like a circle, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all circular, or a better word, it's all karmic. This is karma. Karma is not, I did something messed up to somebody, so now I'm going to have to pay for it. Karma is whatever you put out is what you get back. Right. And that could be something positive. That could be something negative. Like, I hope I get hella good karma because I'm sharing all this good information. So far I'm doing pretty good.
The next 5 years.
Yeah. Like, it's, now I got to up it up a bit, but either way, like, the advice overall that I would give to people is, how much do you care about the way you feel? And recognize that your emotions are you. And you the most important relationship that you'll ever have in this life is the relationship you have with yourself.
Yep. You can't escape.
No, you wake up with you every day. You take a shower with you every day. You do everything with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you can't be good with you, and most importantly, I would say one of the biggest things that helped me, even me in general, is self-forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. And what I mean by self-forgiveness, it's learning to love yourself even with your flaws. Understanding yourself and why you made mistakes, and have the compassion for yourself that I only knew this at this time, that's why I made this decision, and forgiving yourself for holding on to pain as well, because no matter when something happened to you, it could have happened a week ago, yesterday, a month ago, years ago, decades ago. If you're still feeling the pain today, it's because you haven't let it go. Right. So you want to forgive yourself for holding on to it. Yeah. And trying to understand why you're holding on to it.
Which goes back to emotions.
And your emotions are the key. They're like the butler that's trying to show you the way to the secret room. Like, excuse me, darling. And if you don't listen when it's a excuse me, then it goes, hello. Oh, you didn't hear me yet? Bang, on the door, like the police. No, until they're like blowing the door down, and you're like, yo, why does it feel so crazy? Because you've been ignoring yourself.
Yes, I have had situations like that in my life where I took I had a problem or an emotion that I didn't like. I buried it. And we've talked about this before. I literally visualized in my head the ocean. And it's something that has been plaguing me that I don't feel like thinking about, especially if I feel like I don't have control over it. I just put that in a box and I watch it go all the way down to the bottom where all those creepy weird fish that glow in the dark are, you know. And what happens to me is that if this is something that I really need to,
weird fish, I love it.
the little dangly thing in front of their head, the like boop. Yeah, so what happens to me is that will keep manifesting my life in different ways, and it could be pain, or it could be a relationship with someone that's very similar to the one that I was trying to ignore. The universe finds ways to put these things in front of us so that we have to work on them, you know, so we can become
absolutely
version of ourselves. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like it was probably one of the biggest revelations for me to understand that every single thing that's happened, every person that's been put in my life was put there to help me to learn more about myself.
Yeah.
You know, and people would, you know, you curse the person that did XYZ to you, right? That's them. I wish I never met that person. They put me through da. But if when you learn the lesson, then it won't keep repeating itself.
Right.
You know, you'll break up with one person, get with another, but you're still dealing with the same person because you haven't, you haven't resolved the problem.
Been there.
It's been there.
And there.
It could be crazy because there's really like just not understanding these principles.
Well, you know,
going crazy. Like I was there.
Yeah, when it comes to relationships, I've definitely been like, how come there are so many men in the city, but the same person keeps showing up in a different package? All you did was
like all these people, and I keep picking the same one.
Like, how is the same person? I was like, are they in a club? Are they related? Are they brothers? I don't know.
Are they reading from the same book? Like how are they in the same cult?
I'm like, oh, it's me. It's me.
Yeah, but listen, when I was asleep, right, I was stuck in that loop. Why me? Victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? You know, and then once I started to understand more and learn more, it's like, oh, these things are happening for me. At the moment when it's happening, you don't want to hear that shit. You're like,
like, get out of here. Who asked you?
Like nobody asked you. Shut up. I don't want to feel this shit. You know, but I get it. But you know, in order for you to, you know, work through the storm, you have to learn how to go into it. You know, you got to be like the almighty buffalo. The buffalo is the only animal that when the storm is coming, they run into it because they know they can't outrun it.
Let me stay out of buffalo's way because that sounds scary.
Well, I mean, it's even the analogy with, you know, going through the eye of the storm. You know, you got to go. You have to. How's it go? You have to feel it to heal it.
Okay. Yeah. And then also when you think of just like visually thinking about if there is a huge storm, like a hurricane, and you're so busy trying to avoid this pain that you say, I'm going to paddle my boat around this hurricane. Imagine how long it would take you. And that's when you run into the second boyfriend who's just like the first boyfriend. You know?
Well, you're going to keep running from it. It's going to keep chasing you.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is all of these things are mirrors. Every relation, and this is the other thing too that a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand relationships, what they are and what they're for. Right? Relationships, no matter what they are, whether it's friend, family, boss, loved one, whatever, whoever it is, relationships are mirrors. They're meant to show you more of yourself. So, you know, you ever meet people and you just like you could see yourself in them, like you resonate with, like me and you, like we click. Why? Because we in the same. You know, we came from the same tribe, you know, but there's something about you that is showing me and vice versa.
Yes.
It's like you see yourself, and some people, when they see that, they get mad at the person.
Yeah.
You know, because they're recognizing a lack within themselves. And they're like, oh, I want to be more like that. So then be like that and let me be the way I am.
Right. Yeah. I really wish I don't want to go too far off a tangent because there's something else I was going to say, but wish that women would be more supportive of each other. So that's one of the things I love about you is that you are so supportive and you want me to win just as much as you want yourself to win. And I feel like all women should act like that, but we see each other as competitors for multiple reasons because we've been, you know, socialized to be overly concerned with how we look and to be competing for men and things like that. Like it's a limited commodity. There are plenty of fools out there, but we compete so much that we don't support each other. And then when we're competing, especially as women, when we go into a situation, when we see someone else, like you said, that shows us lack in ourselves, instead of thinking to ourselves, I should have compassion for them, or I should understand them because I've been there before. Instead, people act nasty, right? And people,
or they did, now they hating on it. Oh, she thinks she cute.
right.
Yes, I do. Why you got such a problem with that for?
I used to have a friend that I knew without a shadow of a doubt, if she told me she went somewhere and she met someone and she hated that person immediately for like no reason at all that she could think of, that within 3 months that she'd be talking about them, that they were her best friend, because she'd be like, oh my God, I realized after I talked to her, we have so much in common. Like yeah, because you're like the exact same person. That's why.
Yeah, for me, like, even if I met someone where there was something about them that I'm recognizing a lack in myself, I'm going to look at myself now like, okay, what can I do to step my game up?
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to be mad at you for having it. If anything, I'm like, well, what am I doing that I need to get my game up there with you so that, we can party together, versus it being, oh, she thinks she cute.
Right.
Oh, she thinks she's better than somebody.
You're reminding me of the other thing I wanted to say. I feel like also to investigate your emotions, to be aware of them, and to be responsible for them, it also takes a certain amount of bravery, which I guess is the same as my first 100%. Question. I was like, what would you do if you're scared? Okay, well, how do we be brave to face those things? And to also, I feel like, and especially as a teacher, this is something that's really big for me, because working with my students and I do special education, I have so much compassion. I have so much patience, but I rarely show myself the same amount of patience and compassion that I show even to a stranger, so that's something I'm definitely working on in myself. But to have the bravery to like investigate scary feelings or big feelings, like, how would you recommend that someone develop that type of resiliency? Because I think some people they feel like, let me numb that. Let me watch Netflix. Let me binge something. Let me eat something sweet. Let me work out until I'm so exhausted that I immediately fall asleep and I can't think about how I feel. I think we have a lot of distractions and things that we use that, even though it could actually be a healthy thing, is preventing us, and like we're going around the storm instead of going through it. So like, how would you develop or how would you recommend someone develop the resiliency to explore things that might be very painful?
That's an interesting one.
Or have you ever, what is something that you tried for yourself at some point, where, because you've been doing this for a while.
I'm the type of person that I would rather you rip off the Band-Aid so I could just go through the pain.
Right.
Like I remember a long time ago, I had dislocated my shoulder and it hurt so bad that there's no way that I could sit with this pain for more than 5 more minutes, right? To sit and wait for an ambulance and wait to get to the hospital and wait for, like, the pain was so bad. I said to my friend, just pull my arm.
Oh my God.
Pop it back in. Like, I rather feel that extra decimal of pain to get it over with, than to keep feeling it long term. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing even emotionally with me. I got to a point where I was just sick and tired of being 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 sick and tired and being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, I'm serious. Like, it really got to a point where what else could I possibly do? Crying for days at a time and waking up crying and going to bed crying. And, after a few weeks of doing that, it's like, what? There has to be something to do with this. But so it comes back to, how much do you care about the way you feel?
Yes. Okay.
Do you want to find a solution, no matter what that is? And whether you start with journaling, writing down how you feel just to get it out, going to see a therapist, having someone that you can talk to, and don't talk too much to your friends, because what happens with your friends is that they love you so much and they don't want you to feel the pain so bad that if you tell them something deep, they're like, nah, you shouldn't feel like that. You got so many things that you could focus on. And said, no, that's not what you need to hear. You need to hear, you need your feelings validated, and you got to validate your own feelings too.
Right.
So if anything, I would start to tell people to start validating the way you feel. Like, if you're feeling upset right now, you have to identify that. Like, realize, I'm pissed right now. Okay, I understand why I'm pissed right now, because looking at this situation, yeah, anybody would be pissed by this. You know what I mean? Like, you have to validate it, you know, because once you're doing that, it's like the ocean with the waves, right? If a wave is going up and you try to stand right there, what's going to happen? The wave's going to smack you down. Like, you have to let the wave continue going through its cycle. And it's the same thing with your emotions, because it's energy, the law of rhythm, it's going to naturally do this.
Ebb and flow.
And yeah, ebb and flow. So you have to learn how to keep allowing it. And once you start resisting it, like, nah, I don't want to feel that, I'm gonna go do this instead. No, I'm gonna go bury myself into that. Now you're resisting it, so it's gonna stay there longer.
Yeah.
And it goes from a little knock to a bang to a freaking dynamite.
Please. Yeah.
You know, so yes, it really just circles back to how much do you care about the way you feel.
I love this because it's like emotions, and it's like a circle. I'm seeing it as a circle in my head. Like, we on one side we have the emotion, and then when you get to the other side, it's how much do you care about how you really feel, and it gets back to the emotion until you
noticing that just noticing this energy, this part of you that you're experiencing right now. Like, when you first wake up in the morning and you're feeling, I don't know, if you're sad, why?
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to start asking those questions. Why do I feel this way right now? Like, and then you'll have the answer. Oh, because this person did X, Y, Z. Okay. What does that mean about me? You know, because all of it boils down to what you believe about yourself. Always what you believe about yourself. So if you're depressed about what somebody did to you, you know, or did, you're like, was I not good enough? You know, what's so bad about me that this happened?
Right.
You know, and that's the problem right there. There's nothing bad about you. You know, and all those negative beliefs, they all lies anyway. Somebody taught you that shit at some point.
Right.
You know, whether it was the beauty standards or seeing relationship goals, and you don't have those that you're seeing, you know, the comparisons and all that. Like, we do it to ourselves, but it's by design. It's totally your fault. You know, I remember growing up and
that one.
we didn't get the black Barbie until like the late 90s or so.
Girl.
You know? Like,
Yo, I still remember the day. So there was this magical day when Black women started appearing on the covers of magazines, right? And so it was like a little trickle at first. And then I was at Whole Foods one day. I don't remember. I should, if I'm going to say I remember the day, I remember how it feels. I remember what the lighting was like. I remember how I felt. I looked at a magazine. I looked at a magazine stand at Whole Foods. Every single magazine on the stand was a Black woman. I was like, whoa. I was like, this was not something that I grew up with. And it's like, you know, I'm off topic, but
no, representation matters, because that's part of the self-image.
Yes. And so, like, being impacted by, like, thinking about our generation growing up, and then thinking about my mom's generation, my dad's generation, if we're recognizing that we're not seeing these things, and then I recognized when I saw a lot of it, and then thinking about someone who grew up not seeing it ever, right? And telling someone who wasn't taught to be proud of it, except for maybe behind closed doors, like, these are all the things that shape us, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are the things. Yeah, these are the things that create those subconscious beliefs about yourself. So now when shit happens, you're like, oh, is it because I'm not like that? Is why this is happening to me?
Yeah, we got
it's because my stomach ain't as flat as hers, is why he didn't want me, you know. It's just all these beliefs that we've picked up over the years. That's what I mean. Like, it's all lies, you know. It's social constructs of some bull mess, you know. Trying not to curse, but I can't help it. Sorry.
It's okay. I think it should be real.
Yeah. I know. Like, I'm
here for the watered down version of your speaking.
Facts. No, I heard they say that people that swear are usually the more loving and compassionate people. So yeah, that's that shit. You know.
That's right. I'm not saying certain words because I'm still a teacher, but you know, they're in there.
I definitely am trying to be. I'm gonna work on it.
No, I mean, I don't think you need to work on it. I have a very strong teacher filter. Like, I can be at home, drop something on my toe, and you would think that I was raised by wolves. Yeah, I was raised a wolf raised by sailors. And then I go out in the street. The second my perception picks up a young child, I'm like, oh, sugar. Oh, darn it, rats. Like I said rats a lot. Like 3 weeks ago, everything that happened at work was rats. And I was like, where did that come from? Like,
that's funny. I say fudge bucket. Like, fudge.
That's
shut the front door.
Yeah, that's too close to the F word for me. If I was going to say fudge, I'd probably just wind up saying the other one. That's too close. It's just a couple letters you need to switch,
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, I think one of the things I love about myself is my personality, because I crack myself up all the time.
You're hilarious. You've said some things when we're on the phone where I'm just like, for the next 2 weeks, like it'll just pop into my head randomly and I start cracking up.
Oh, like even talking about my balls. And yes, I could talk about my balls now. So let me explain to people about my balls. So these are my posy balls. Mm-hmm. So the posy balls are tetrahedron. These are tetrahedron shaped balls that there's affirmations on every side. Each ball serves a different purpose. They will be ready, but if ready for sale soon. But if anybody wants it now, you could feel free to hit me up. I could ship it out to you as soon as possible. But I tell people to roll together these two, because these have some powerful affirmations. Like the yellow one, I would say, is more for mindset training. So you got stuff on here like my health is my wealth. Money always comes. You got to keep reminding yourself of stuff like this. And that's part of training your mindset, because whatever your relationship with money is, if you got a subconscious belief that money's hard to get, then you ain't going to believe that money always comes. So you have to start retraining your mind by using different affirmations and exploring your beliefs and stuff like this helps. Now, the other one I just dropped somewhere. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's far away. So yeah, this one is the action ball. Say if you're bored, you don't know what to do with yourself, you just roll this ball until something comes up that you're like, yeah, I don't mind doing that. Like read a book. You're like, I don't feel like reading no book. You roll it again. Clean something up. Yeah, let me get up and go clean that up real quick. Or I don't feel like cleaning up shit. What do they say? Drink some water. Yeah, let me go drink some water. Like the whole point is to get you to move. Mm-hmm. to get you to do something, and just keep following that. And that is going to eventually start bringing you to more things that just keep, eventually start make you feel good. Mm-hmm. And then for children, this is the confidence ball. I mean, adults can use it too. Like I am strong. I am amazing. You are fun. I am powerful. You are beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like these are the type of things that you want to help to reinforce into people's mindsets. And again, it's planting seeds.
Yes.
The more you do it, there's a whole scientific thing behind it.
Right. And I love that. It's especially the one for kids, like working with children, and especially for children who've been struggling with school. Like school is the job of a child, right? So if a child goes to school and they're a child that has been labeled with some kind of learning challenge or whatever, they struggle the whole day that they're at school or for certain portions of that day. And the amount of time they spend at school not feeling good because of the challenges, it's even more important that parents build or guardians build a strong mindset at home to help that child not develop some kind of complex about their brain and how they learn and what their value is in the world. And I could see something like that being so powerful in helping a child grow up with the right types of mindset to create healthy thoughts as an adult. So
absolutely. Because it's whatever you believe is what you're going to look for to reinforce that. Mm-hmm. So if you believe that you're powerful and that you are good, you're going to find things about yourself or things that you've done to see, yeah, I am powerful. Yeah, I am smart. But if you think you're dumb and you're ugly, now you're going to start looking for things that are going to reinforce that. Yeah, I am dumb. If something happens, see, I am dumb. Right. That's why that happened. Like, it's, and especially children are so impressionable because they're not working from logic. They're working from feeling, and up to the age of 7 or 9, they're still in their subconscious, so the younger they are and you instilling things like this into them, you're going to build a more healthier foundation for how they feel and see themselves, how they feel about themselves and how they see themselves. So, this is one of my many contributions to the world. It came to me in a meditation, so I was like, "Ooh, I like this," because it was just something for myself at first, and like I said, "Ooh, let me share this with other people."
Absolutely, we're thankful for your generosity and your good ideas.
Yes, and again,
also, they work because when you held up the purple ball, the one that was facing us said, "I love myself," and you literally had just said that you love yourself and your personality. So
yeah, there you go, folks. Listen, 20 years ago, you would have never heard me tell Mia that I love myself, or if I said it, I ain't believe it.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like it took me years to retrain my mind, like, and the ways to retrain your mind, people, just to put it out there: repetition, because that's how you got to where you are now, is through repetition. So if you want to retrain your mind, you want to use repetition. Like I talk about it in my book, The Secret Power of Journaling, like using journaling as a way to program your mindset. I like affirmations like crazy. So besides, the Posi balls, I hang affirmations all around my house.
I do too. I actually have an entire wall of affirmations. I'll show.
I love it. I love it.
That all those affirmations.
I don't want to turn mine and risk it, but there's a huge whiteboard next to me with a whole bunch of affirmations, and then there's another whiteboard over there, a whole bunch. Then I got another whiteboard over there, and I'll keep updating them over time.
I do too. Yeah, I just changed mine 3 days ago because I was watching Joe Dispenza meditation online, and I was like, I like all these things.
So I love Joe Dispenza.
Pausing like every 20 seconds, writing it down. These ones are in neon. I only showed it because my computer is so far away you can't read them because it's kind of personal, but also it's not, because I feel like the things I have up here, they could help anyone who's in the same thing that I am. Yeah.
100%. Listen, somebody, it'll resonate with someone.
Absolutely.
You never know who and what it is. Like the affirmations, especially the ones I put on the purple ball, those I hold dear to my heart.
I love those ones. I love the purple ball, I think, the most.
Yeah, the purple ball. Like I like that one too. That's what. But whenever, like, there'll be days I'm feeling away, and I'll play with my own balls. No shame. And real talk, like, they really help me feel better. I'm like, this is a good idea.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just can't wait for people to experience them and making videos of them and sharing it. Oh my God. Like, I'm looking forward to this being something awesome, and I'm putting that out there that it will be something awesome.
Absolutely,
it will help many people.
When these balls are going to meet the entire world, I cannot wait to see the number grow of like all the countries that have your balls.
Facts.
Yes.
Ooh, I get excited. So I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
With my
there you go. Oh my God, I love that shirt. That is so pretty. You got the shingles on it.
I got
the Tina shingles.
I got 3 of these because I was
Tina Turner shingles.
I like when my clothes do part of the work for me when I go dancing, so that you can just do a 2-step, but then it's like you look like you're doing some real extra Beyonce stuff, but you're not really doing anything at all. You're literally just like,
I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Yes. And doing that is how you're loving on yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, this is you enjoying yourself. Like, you want to enjoy being and just existing.
I need life to be fun. Also, this is kind of like my school year over, summer starting celebratory outfit. Like, it's been a couple weeks since work stopped, but it takes a couple weeks for me to start feeling like myself again, not the person
I know what you mean.
Wheel every morning and it makes coffee and scrambles out of the house and does things for everyone else except for herself,
Yeah.
So like I finally am like, I feel like I'm back inside of myself again, and
I love it.
This self wanted to wear this today.
I love it. No, listen. I mean, for me, I'm wearing, I'm in uniform all week. I don't want to tell people what I do. Y'all need to know what I do. But anyway, It's like when I wear a dress, I'm like, I let the air flow all through. And I got, bringing this back from Egypt. I got this when I was out in Egypt. So I'm like, I'm back to my roots.
That's stuff. Right. Okay.
So yeah. And if I'm going to touch on some spiritual science, I
Mm.
know people see my necklaces all the time.
Yes.
So let me break down what these are and why I wear them, because people are like, oh, those are nice. I want to wear something that is going to be helping me and still looks good at the same time. So these are actually orgonite. So
Okay.
for people that don't know what orgonite is, I know you know what orgonite is. So orgonite is a mixture of crystals, inorganic and organic materials, and copper, gold. And what it does is that it pulls in all of the negativity around you, and then it exudes the positive energy. Like this gentleman created an Oregon box where people with ailments would sit in this box, and over time it would help to heal their body because it's realigning your energy in a sense. They also help to deflect the electromagnetic frequencies that come from cell phones and the 5G towers, you know, and these also have magnets too. So that is now adding to my energy field. So now it's going to increase the way my energy moves. So in ways it makes me stronger.
Okay.
Like Brother Hank, you know, shout out to him. He made these. He's like the mad scientist with these things. And he'll actually do a test with you where he has like this heavy weight and he tells you to, without touching these, pick up the weight. Right, and see how easy it is for you to pick up like a 25-pound weight. So you go pick it up. So for me, you know, I got it off the ground like this much.
Yeah.
And then he gives you one of the beads. He's like, all right, now put the bead close to you and pick it up again. You're like this. Like, oh, shoot.
Seriously?
Yo, no, people, there's videos of it on YouTube. I actually was just seen a video of it the other day. That I got a video of my mom. That my mom, I brought my mother there, and she went to pick up the, like, mind you, my mother is 70 years old. When I took her, she was like maybe 68 when she first met Hank. She picked up the weight. She was able to bring it up to like her knee because she's standing up in front of him.
Yeah.
She put the necklace on, pulled it all the way up to her chest. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just picked that up. Oh my God. Because it's increasing the voltage in your body. Like, people think strength comes from, you know, how big your muscles are. No, it's about how much energy is able to flow through them. You know, that's why Bruce Lee was so powerful, because he learned how to channel that energy through him. You know what I mean? So that's what these are for. This one here is tensor rings. Ooh-wee. So tensor rings is, plainly put, it's copper wire that's been spun and cut at a sacred cubic length. These are the measurements of sacred geometry that go as far back as Kemet. You know, people that built the pyramids understood these measurements, right? So when you cut it at a certain length and you bring it together in a round circle, it's going to now emit a certain frequency. Because of that, it's kind of like the radio, right? There's radio towers right now that's broadcasting different stations. You can only pick up the station when you change the tuner. And the tuner is at a certain frequency, and that frequency would be like 98.7 or 97.1. And, you know, when you put that frequency on, you can hear what's coming in from that tuning, you know, and you can't see these things, but they're there.
Yeah.
Same thing with the tensor rings, because they're tuned to a certain frequency. Now it's going to draw that energy into you. So these actually help to alleviate, like for me, it helped to accelerate the emotional, me moving that emotional energy through my body. You know, and then there's a whole bunch of crystals inside of it, and each crystal has its own energy with it as well. So I have actually a large tensor ring that I can't wait for you to experience when we link up. You stand in this thing. You stand in it. You can sit in it, whatever. So what I did real quick when I first got it, I told my daughter to come in the room. I said, close your eyes. I just wanted to see if you have this experience. So I brought her over to the ring. I told her to step inside. She had her eyes closed. She had no idea what was going on. So as she's standing there, she's like, why does it feel like something's like pulling me backwards? Like, okay, wait, hold up. So I had to move back, and then I turned the tensor ring over, because one side energy goes up, the other side energy goes down. So one grounds you, one adds energy to you. So then I flipped it over, had her stepping again. Mind you, she still don't know what she's standing in.
Right.
He's like, why does it feel like something's pulling me forward? So I told her to look at it. She's like, oh shoot, what is that? And I explained what it was. I did the same thing to my mom. She had the same exact experience. Another friend of mine, now this person's never meditated a day in their life.
Okay.
Stood in it and they was like, yo, why is it, yo, that's weird. Why is it doing that? I'm serious, yo. This is the spiritual science that we knew about thousands of years ago. You know, this isn't nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? This is just information that was stolen from us.
Right.
You know, so again, I just want to bring people's awareness to this type of stuff, you know, because it's going to help your energy field again, because we're nothing but energy. So why not figure out how you can enhance that energy with stuff like this, you know, some organite, crystals, you know, all that stuff helps your energy.
There's a reason why people are into all this woo-woo stuff, because it works. I got 2 small, about the size of yours, tinsel rings, and I got them because you were talking about tinsel rings. So I was like, let me do some research. This was like 2 or 3 months ago. And so for the end of the school year, I was wearing them, and I felt the difference, like to the point where if I was about to leave the house and I didn't have it on, I'd go back and I would get it, because it just made my workday better, you know.
You can, like, you feel a subtle difference.
More clear in my energy. Yeah.
That's awesome. And listen, you tried different sizes. You know, they're all different frequencies. So, you know, this, I'm telling you, oh my God, I can't wait to feel this big one.
I'm excited. I didn't know about flipping it. So that's something I'm going to try, because I don't even think I have it. It's not marked in any kind of way for me to know which one is front and which one is back, but I'm going to play around with it now.
Play around with it and see what you feel from both sides.
Yes.
And then you'll know, okay, if I put it this way, it's going to make me feel this way. You know, so this is real talk. Like, this ain't no woo woo, you know, no, this is actual science. Like, and if anybody's going to ask me, oh, what do you believe in? I don't believe in anything. I know what I know.
Right.
You know, anything that's a belief is still something I'm exploring to find the fact in it so that I know it. You know what I mean? Because when you believe something, you're taking it on face value and you don't really know if it's true. You're just taking it on belief.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is changeable. You know, so yeah. So I remember you saying you had other questions or something that you wanted me to touch on. We have a few minutes. Like, we've been going. I'm loving this.
No, we're killing it today. It's just we're just on the same wavelength. Like, let's go. Yes. Okay. So I have this book. So I suggested to Winnie we play a game. It's not really a game, but kind of. So I have this book called Opening the Channel, and I picked a page that has a saying on it from one of the people in this book. They're channeling this entity, Orrin and Dobbin. And so the book is by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer, in case you want to look it up. So the quote that I found, so I'm just going to read it to you, and then I would like you to tell me your thoughts on it based on your own experiences or anything else that comes to mind. So the truth will seem obvious when you are channeling. Do you feel like that resonates with you in any kind of way? And do you feel like, would you call what you do when you work with people to do healing work? Would you consider that a type of channeling?
Yeah. Well, for me to, first of all, we channel all the time.
Okay.
You know, recognize, like, especially when you're in the zone. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing something that you love to do and you just get in the zone of things and time just starts flying, in that moment you were channeling, right? So on that level, yeah. Next level of, you know, whenever someone's asking me a question, or if I'm connecting with this person's energy and I'm feeling what it is that they need, I'm channeling those thought forms to now know what to say, how to say it, or how to direct the person.
Okay.
Because I'm tuning into, so it is a level of channeling. As for what you channel as the truth, the universal thing about truths is technically all truths are true, because based off of whatever level of perception you're at, something's going to be true for you that's not true for me. You know, so on one level, all truths are true. On another level, when you're channeling from infinite consciousness, the very thing that creates reality, the thing we call God, our higher self, your guides, they're not gonna, well, I know there's gonna be some people that's gonna be like, it's demons. Demons gonna give you all the wrong energy. No, we're not gonna do that. So a lot of times when you're getting downloaded positive information, on some level that's true if it resonates with you and it can help you. That's what I would say is a truth. If it's something that you could take in, it could actually help transform you, and now you can create something better, then that is a truth for you. It might not be for someone else, but that's, if it works for you, then do it. Like one of my favorite mottos of all, if it feels good, do it. That's one of my favorites. So hopefully that gives you, just, that's just from my opinion, you know, what I hear from that, you know. But we could definitely go on, and this has been a great episode. I hope everybody that's watching out there is enjoying the content. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions of any things that you would like for us to talk about, feel free. But we gotta move on. You know, we'll be back next week, and we keep the vibrations and the conversations going. So thank you again, Veronica.
Thank you, Wendy.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Have a good night.